For more than a decade, FTI has strived to become the leader in the aftermarket performance transmission and converter industry. We've joined forces with McLeod Driveline Components under the leadership of Top Fuel Funny Car pilot Paul Lee, and now have a larger distribution network, more resources, and more power. Come see us in the pits and ask how you can join the FTI family. It's not cheating, it is the competitive edge.
This is WFO Radio.
Hey everybody, WFO Radio is back on the air. What a week it has been. My name is Joe Castello, WFO Joe, and what we have? We had Brittany Force and Alan Reinhart. We had Robert Height, and now we're going to have Matt Smith. Just seconds away, Matt Smith wins the Virginia Nationals, first win on a Suzuki, that amazing bike that just won Best Appearing at ZMAX. Didn't really talk about that. I think that's a pretty big milestone also. Whenever something wins Best Appearing, that's a big deal. We'll see what Matt thinks about that. Just seconds away. If you're a fan of the bikes, you're definitely going to want to share this show, because we are in the middle of what I'm calling, the biggest rivalry in drag racing right now. It has really gone on for like 4 or 5 years, and we've had Steve Johnson the past 2 winter views, and now we have Matt Smith, and they raced in the final round. So that's going to be very, very interesting. You can put your comments in the chat section. We'll talk about them, and then stick around for a few moments after it's all over so we can tell you what's up in the WFO universe. I got Fastlane Friday down in Homestead this weekend. Going to be excited to go down and see my local racers just getting started in the sport of drag racing. Going to be a whole lot of fun. But first, let me tell you about the people who make it possible for me to go WFO. I'll give you a perfect example. Total Seal Piston Rings, the leader in ring seal technology. Matt Hartford and the guys are going to be back at Epping. Super excited to have Pro Stock back in Epping, New Hampshire after Memorial Day weekend. We got new podcasts up, but it's all an exercise in ring seal. Like, is that important? The answer is it's very important. It's vital important. I was out at Formula One Miami watching cars going around trying to guess which ones had Total Seal Piston Rings in it. When I'm at the drag races, it's a little bit easier, because people will just tell you if they use Total Seal, and more often than not, the fast guys do. TotalSeal.com, and go listen to the podcast. Going to be great. Also, Phillips Connect. Go to Phillips-Connect.com to find out more information about all their connected sensors. If you have got multiple trailers going over the road, you definitely want to connect with these guys, because they'll keep you and your loads safer out there. And if you happen to be an enterprise business or a trucking business, my goodness, get out there and check out Phillips-Connect.com. And the word on the street is that Jim Epler is going to be out on the tour with us for the rest of the year with a Phillips Connect instructional trailer, and it is going to be great. And we're going to have Jim on the show next week. Jim is going to be on the show, and we're going to talk about, obviously, his drag racing career, but how he turned that into Phillips Connect. And so we'll be speaking about that. Also going to have Erica Enders on the show. And there's a connection there for those that don't know. Already mentioned VP Racing Fuels. Really appreciate those guys. And FTIperformance.com. Later on in the show, we'll tell you about Frank Hawley's Drag Racing School, the Dragster Adventure. My buddy Marvin, RodackCoffeeandgrills.com, of course. And samtech.edu, the School of Automotive Machinists and Technology. And guys, my sponsors, just like every other drag racer, right? They're the reason I get to do this. And so we appreciate them. And the next time you need one of these things, please keep them in mind. All right, let's go out to North Carolina and check in with the most recent winner out there on the NHRA Camping World Series Tour, Matt Smith. What's up, Matt? How are you?
Good. How you doing, Joe?
I'm great. Big win for you out there. What were you more excited about, though? Getting the win, your first win on a Suzuki, a huge milestone win. You've now won on Suzuki, Victory, Buell, EDR, or getting your new toter home, which arrived like yesterday.
No, the win was I haven't been that excited in a long time for winning a race or winning a championship. I mean, that's been a goal of mine since I started racing. And, when I started racing in 2004, I was on a Suzuki. And I was on a Suzuki all the way up till, 2006. So, plain and simple, I always wanted to win on a Suzuki. I rode for Don Schumacher in 2009 on a Suzuki, and I never have been able to win on one, and always got runner-up, but never put it in the win column, and we finally got that goal accomplished last weekend.
You were a different guy back then, though, right? Like I think about Matt Smith in 2004 coming on, decided to get in a pro stock motorcycle because you've told me that that's what was the most affordable to do. Like you could do it. It's a little more affordable and weren't even really like a bike guy, if memory serves me right. Like this is a way for me to go professional drag racing in an affordable way. Here we are, 5 championships later, 33 wins later. Pretty good road hoed.
Yeah, not too shabby for an old hillbilly here in North Carolina that's followed in his dad's footsteps of doing this, and he's I call him probably one of the goats of door slammers and pro mod cars, and I'm putting my name in the record book in the pro stock motorcycle category.
Yeah, well, he's definitely one of the goats, no doubt. You don't get up in that Thunder Valley Ring of Fame or Ring of Honor by accident. Everybody weighing in, people saying, what's up? Keith saying, what's up? Keith says that Matt and Angie, 2 of the sweetest people in the sport. Love them both. Would you describe yourselves as sweet? Angie, maybe. Matt, sweet?
Angie's sweet. I guess I'm the spicy one. So, sweet and spicy. So I'll be the spicy. She's the sweet one.
Yeah, I don't know how sweet she might have been, though, when that crank sensor broke.
Yeah, it's probably been 2 years. We look back in our books, and I think it's been over 2 years since we've had a crank sensor failure. So very rare for that to happen. And, we've fixed a lot of our problems that we've had with the V-twin stuff of reliability, and it just something popped up. It's just one of them deals. I mean, I hate it for her. She had the best bike on the property, I think, qualifying number 1 and setting both ends of the track record. But, we'll go to Bristol and see if she can do it there. And I'm keeping hammers away from her when we go to Bristol.
Yes, keep the hammers away, right? I remember the last time. But you know what? I mean, I don't know if there was any permanent damage, but I don't want to say people's toughness is in question because it's not. You assume everybody's tough. But then when you get an example of someone being tough, it's a little different. And we got an example of Angie's toughness out there. Smashed her thumb, her finger, and it was very ugly. And she just toughed it out and came right back. And she even said, she held the tears back, which I don't know if I could have done. Not that she needed to go through that, but since she did, we learned a lot about her.
Yeah, I mean, she wanted to race the race, and and I'm like, no, there's no way that we're doing that. And sorry, it's done. She didn't even want to go to the hospital, and we made her go to the hospital. I think she had 8 or 10 stitches put in her finger, and they told her she couldn't race. She couldn't use her hand. But one of them deals, she'll be back at Bristol this year, so all the fans come out. She will be racing this year, and we'll have 2 Denso bikes there, 1 Suzuki and 1 V-twin.
1 V-twin, 1 Suzuki, and they're both quick and they're both fast. So let's talk a little bit about this weekend in that you got 1 qualifying run, 1 you had to back it off the starting line because of, I guess it was an electrical gremlin. You decided, I'm not going to risk this thing. And then a session got canceled or whatever you want to call it, the Saturday night session. We were trying to make something happen there, and it just got pushed back a little bit late. So a mixed bag in qualifying, but you turned it into something on race day. Did you know that you had something for them, or were you confused as well?
Well, if you look at qualifying, we went out for Q1, and Angie went 78. She was low of the round. I think Steve Johnson went 82.6. I went 82.7, and Jimmy went 82.8. So we were right where we needed to be. And then, like you said, I didn't make the run in Q2 because when I cranked the bike up, it sounded funny, and I started the burnout. It still sounded funny, so we just stopped it and took it back just to be sure that, I didn't know if it was an injector or coil or whatever, but it ended up being a coil wire that wasn't plugged up all the way. So we got that fixed, and, we missed Q3. Everybody did. So we went into Sunday, and I just didn't hit the tune-up on Sunday. It dried out a little bit, and I guess I just took too much time and stuff out of it because I just did not run good on Sunday, and I kept on trying stuff through first round, second round, third round, and even in the finals. And we was picking up a little bit each time, but nothing like we did in qualifying. I mean, we should have went 80 or 79 or 80 or 78 pretty easy after running 199 in Q1. So one of them deals, the bike's fine, bike's healthy. We come back here, we took it apart, everything looks good. We just missed tune-up. So I know we have a fast Suzuki, and we know Angie has a fast V-twin, so my goal for Bristol is to try to go 1-2 in qualifying.
That would be cool. Blake out there says, "Hi, Matt. Congratulations." Roger Richards says hello to Angie's husband. Jeff says hello to all. You're not bothered by being Angie's husband.
No, I'm not bothered at all. Hell, a lot of times, Bobby Bennett tells me, he says, "Hey, there's Ricky's boy." It's all the time. So,
right.
I get called a lot of stuff.
Angie's husband, right? Meanwhile, this guy's running all around, taking care of business, TCB, all the time. All right, let's talk about the round by round because I want to shout out to these other competitors, right? Because I think we're in the golden era, and I'm not saying this. Others have told me this. George Bryce has told me this, that right now maybe is the golden era of pro stock motorcycle because, one, they're fast, running over 200 on a regular basis, spreading it around. Two, the multiple manufacturers, and then within the manufacturers, multiple manufacturers. And then the rivalry and the fact that so many riders have got a shot to win. It's pretty wild out there. You at the top of your game. Angel is back. Angie, of course, Eddie is Eddie. Like so many personalities, Steve being back. Would you agree with that? You've been around a long time. Like right now for pro stock motorcycles, where does it rank?
Yeah, I think it's probably the closest I've seen, with parity right now, and just everybody being fast. I mean, it's always if you qualify, you can win the race. We've seen crazy stuff happen in the past, but theoretically, really, anybody that qualifies from 10th up all the way, we're all within like 400s, 500s. Pretty much the majority of the time anymore, and anybody can win on race day with that. And it just takes a little somebody falling asleep or just a breakage or anything like that, and anybody can win around. So I mean, that's just the way. That's how tight our class is right now, and it's good for us.
So you beat Chris Bostic in the first round. I do want to talk about the one that got away though, that I was super interested in, and I just want to know your take. Rat Tornow runs up against Mark Emerson, and Mama Rat is on the starting line. I don't know how many races she's been to, but they set up like a nice chair for her, and she's watching her boy out there. And I'm watching all kinds of different stuff in addition to the racing, right? And this whole project with Rat's mom being set up on the starting line to watch her son go out there and race got me interested. I was like, oh man, it would be super cool for Rat to get a round win with his mom on the starting line. Dude goes 007, comes up 5/10 thou short. Now that's one of your old bikes and everything. I felt bad for him. I felt good for Mark. Obviously, they're both struggling. So not struggling, but struggling to make it, to be a part of this deal. When those guys get to run each other, it's good because someone's going to the second round. 5/10 thousandths. And Mama Rat was bummed, man. You could see it.
Yeah, we sold Ron that bike, motor, clutch, everything, just turnkey. He rode that bike when he rented from us here, and he wanted that bike. He loved that body, the way it felt. The only key is I had to sell him the clutch that was in the bike, and that clutch, for some reason, it's a magic clutch because it likes to go 105, 104, 103. And so I sold it all to him, and man, I help him. I keep the motors up. But, the biggest thing is I'm proud of Ron, of everything he's doing. He wants to do all this stuff on his own. He'll come over and ask for tuning advice and this and that, but he's basically left the clutch alone the way it is. But he's tweaking on the, tune-ups and all that stuff, and he's doing a really good job. We just missing something right down there from, the 8th mile to the finish line with speed, on the bike. But the power's there. I mean, he runs good, and I looked at his graph after E1, and if he probably wouldn't have pulled out of 6th gear, going into 6th gear about 300 RPMs early, he would have won that round. And but all in all, he'll be all right for Bristol, and he's excited, his best start yet, and proud to be associated with him because him, his mom, his brother, his girlfriend, they're all a great group of people.
It was fun to watch. And those are the things like, the TV show, you can only focus on so much, right? But everybody's got their fam there, and she was willing him on, and it's like, 5/10 thou. The arrow on that bike, can that bike hang? You mentioned speed, right? I noticed that big thing up front, the front valance or whatever you want to call it. Is that a limiting factor?
No, I mean, when did Hector Jr. go 200? What year was that?
Yeah, I don't know. A couple years back, ages ago now.
Okay, so the year before that he went 200 at Sonoma, I went 199.96 with that bike. So I almost broke the 200 mile an hour with that body style. So we know that body style is fine. And even in the wind tunnel, that body style is fine to go fast. So we're just missing something. It's not aero package. It's a good bike.
Good. I love hearing that because I like the look of it. I like seeing things that look different from one another on TV. You know, I think myself as the casual fan, right? Like, oh, look at those. They're all the same. And in Pro Stock Motorcycle, that's not the case. They're not all the same. So you advance to the second round where you got to go up against Jimmy Underdahl, who you referenced and is getting a lot of name checks as the guy who's going to win his first race soon or a race soon. The bike performance is there. Jimmy and his dad have been around a long time. Good people. Jimmy took a little time off. He's now back, and I feel it too. He's getting ready to happen, but it was not on this day.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you hate running your team bike, and we didn't do nothing from first round to second round, but try to calm it down a little bit more in low gear for him. It was out of control first round, and he's got a fast bike. But like I said, I was just missing the tune-up on my bike and his bike Sunday. We just wasn't running the back like we did in qualifying. So, he slowed up a little bit. I actually picked up a couple hundreds, because I messed up the tune-up in first round. But regardless, I got by that round. But I can promise you one thing. Jimmy will win a race this year. If he doesn't, I'm going to be very, very disappointed. And he might win a couple races. But he's got a fast motorcycle, and they're doing a good job over there.
Yeah, that's part of the Scrappers conglomerate, however you want to talk about it. You go to the semis against Eddie. Good to see Eddie back in the mix. Mark Ingerson and Steve Johnson on the other side of the ladder. And you and Eddie, good race, but you come out on top. Steve on the other side of the ladder. And that sets up I got to tell you, the final round that I think everybody wanted to see after the past couple of races. Like how you've been hearing it. Steve has been talking. He's doing it because he wants to generate interest in the category and probably other motivations too. But it's generated interest in the category. Everybody's talking about Pro Stock Motorcycle, and here we go. So tell me about how you prepared for the final round, knowing all of that, right? Like, oh, here we go. This is it. This is the one. The talkative Steve Johnson has won 2 in a row, and now I got to stop him from winning 3 in a row.
Yeah, like I explained, I was missing a tune-up. I don't know what was going on, but totally missing a tune-up for Sunday. The weather changed a little bit. There's a lot of water on the ground, but it was drying out in the air. And I don't know if that was throwing me for a curve. I haven't figured the tune-up quite right yet on a Suzuki. But anyway, had to run Steve. I know what Steve likes to do. He always wants to rush you. He waits to start his bike up last and then rush you up there, and he's blinking the light, and all that stuff up there. So I know what he likes to do. So I just had in my mind that I was going to go up there and just try to teach him a lesson. You're going to respect me, and you're going to play by my rules right now because I have 5 championships and he has 0. So you're going to play like I want to play this time. Or better yet, if neither one of us wanted to start, they could throw us both out. I didn't care. I didn't care if I didn't win a race. I didn't care if he didn't win a race. They could throw us both out. So that was my intention. I made him start first. Then I started my bike right away. And Steve likes to stage first, period. He likes to stage first. I don't know why he does it, but he likes to stage first. And he's done it for years and years and years and years. So I just went up there, and I mean, a lot of people have gave me crap for it on the internet of just going up there and putting both lights on. But he already had one light on, so I didn't do anything wrong to rush him or anything. I just beat him into staging. John Force does it every race, sometimes 2 or 3 rounds a race. But anyway, that's the way I did. I feel like I got in his head. He was late, and I wasn't actually, really good because I've yet to get the clutch set up just right on this bike to where it'll react. I cannot cut a light with this Suzuki bike yet. So 30, 40, 50, that's about all I can do on this thing right now. And, hey, we turned the wind light on. That's all that matters. And it doesn't matter what happened before, after, whatever. We stopped Steve 3 in a row. You fans, you didn't have to listen to him for 3 weeks in a row. I know y'all are happy about that. And, it is what it is. He's going to win some more races this year. I can promise you that. But I hope we do too.
Oh my goodness, that is tremendous. I don't know, because he's got fans too, right? He's got fans, and you've got fans, and I think it is great. Now, I will tell you that Steve sent on text. He goes, "Hey, I want to keep this thing going. Tell Matt that this was me after the final." Now, it's a little blurry and it's a little fuzzy and everything, but he's participating in this deal, this kind of quasi rivalry that is bringing Pro Stock Motorcycle to the front. But what you just said, I'm really, really kind of surprised, Matt, that anyone was giving you trouble for double bulbing. What is that? That's part of drag racing.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of the comments on Cycle Drag that Jack put up, people were hating because I double bulbed and, this and that or whatever. And it's like, racing is racing. I didn't do anything wrong. I didn't hold him out. I didn't do anything wrong. It doesn't matter. Even if the competitor has one bulb on and I got two bulbs on or vice versa, you still have 7 seconds or you're going to get red lit. So NHRA has a good policy going on right now. And I just took advantage of knowing how the rules are wrote. And I just went in and double bulbed instead of just taking my time staging. I probably got in a little deep, when I did that because I took such a big chunk. That's might be why my 60 was a little slower than it should have been. But all in all, we got the win light. And yes, I know Steve put that picture up there. And, when we got off the end of the track, he rolled on. I never saw him. I don't think he kept his bike running and drove it back to the pits or something because Amanda Busick wanted to do an interview with him and he was gone. So I don't know. He should have stayed around. He could have got a plug on TV again, but he went on up the road.
Wow. Well, yeah, I believe that every racer should take every opportunity at every second of television time. If Amanda Busick is coming your way, you got to say yes, even in the most disappointing of moments, right? And it's like, hey, this is one of those disappointment interviews, but you got to take that opportunity. That's where you make some fans as well. Monday Morning Racer reporting that Steve tested at Virginia Motorsports Park. He did have a fast bike, but man, that's got to be tough when those numbers come up on the board. And a 78 loses to an 84. I want to know about the Racecraft. Like I think about, in IndyCar, Racecraft. Like, what do you do in each situation? Right. The Andretti's used to talk about this a lot. Marco would talk about like that's what he would work on. Like being fast is one thing, but knowing when and how and all that, and that applies to drag racing too. And so this is what I'm asking. All that strategy that you told me just a second ago, he likes to do this. If he says he likes to do this, I'm going to put him in a situation and I'm going to do that and all that. Do you think about that? Like, do you sit in the lounge and like think? Do you have a file on everybody? Is the file up here? Do you just know what everybody's like? Is this stuff that you and Ricky talk about? Because Ricky got Chris Thorne, in my opinion. He hooked him into a burn down. And the guy only went 1 thou red, but he had the fastest car and he went red against Ricky after a minor staging duel, which didn't have to happen. And that's worth something somewhere along the line. So I want to know, do you pregame for that? Is it just kind of like natural the way you do it? Like, how does that happen? If you can tell us.
It's kind of natural. I mean, it's all up here. I know every competitor that I've ever raced through the years. I kind of know what people like, from Eddie to Andrew to Angel to Steve Johnson. I mean, I know what people like to do. And, sometimes I'll play with their game. I'll play with them sometimes. And then there's times where I'm just dead set. I'm going to do this and we're going to sit here or we're going to get counted out, But plain and simple, I don't do everything the same all the time. A lot of times, if I got a fast bike, I'll go in and stage first. Then there's times I'll go, you know what? I'm not staging first this time because I staged first against this guy last time or girl last time. So there's unique situations. It's how I feel, how their bike's running, how my bike's running, and just how I feel after I do the burnout. I mean, a lot of times I don't even know what I'm going to do until I do my burnout. And I see how people act, either getting ready to start the bike up or after they do the burnout, how their crew's acting or whatever, somebody's got a problem. I feed on that kind of stuff to know what's going on. And, especially if somebody's talking junk, for the last 2 or 3 weeks, that just made me more aggressive to, I'm going to do something that's going to try to screw them up. It don't always work. Sometimes it screws me up. Sometimes it doesn't screw them up. This time it worked to my advantage. Next time it might not.
Interesting. Well, I like hearing you say that it's very situational and in the moment. Like, to me, that makes it even cooler, right? To watch, and watching you guys pull into the water box, like, you're always just kind of looking. You're looking over and checking it out, and vice versa. Like, there's a lot of that going on in pro stock motorcycle, like looking over at each other and trying to check it out. Oh, Michael Phillips is out there. Yeah, y'all slow is what Michael Phillips says. Can we get him a fast bike, please? Can we get Michael Phillips a bike, please, to get out there? He says he's coming back. I'm coming back strong. But seriously, you throw Michael Phillips on a fast bike into this thing, that would be pretty crazy.
Well, he made the comment he had more money than Eddie made in a year, so I don't know why he's out there. You know, he should be out here racing with us.
Yeah. Michael, come on, Michael. I've been a big supporter of yours for years. 1 year, man. Just sell the house. Just get out there. No, I'm kidding. Don't sell your house. Don't do that. But no, very interesting. So this thing has gone on for 4 years, or however long it was, back to the hobby racer comment, which, to be honest, with the pandemic and everything, I lost track of when that was. Feels like 2018, like a long time, man. 2019. This thing has gone on for a long time. And just when it's over, it comes back. And here we go again. And now Steve is fast, and he's got a fast bike. And we talked in the media center. I'm not going to play that comment again, but you took exception to the idea that he wasn't motivated by that, right? Like, when you said that, he went to work and now he's fast. And I was like, Steve, is that part of the reason? He said, no. And you're like, that's not true at all. But I wonder, is he going to be motivated now to think a little bit more about all that starting line stuff?
Well, I mean, you know, I probably taught the class of, here's one way to beat Steve Johnson, you know? So if all the other competitors know how they can get in Steve's head a little bit and beat him, you know, sometimes you just got to go up there and force issue with him and make him get out of his routine of what he does. And that's the biggest thing, is people have routines. And if you get somebody out of their routine, they go, oh man, what just happened? You know, I've been in a situation before. I remember Englishtown, one of the very first times I raced Steve Johnson. I was racing for George Bryce on a V-twin. And I know Steve likes to roll in, put both lights on and back up. So he's really, really shallow. So he just barely moves. He turns the second bulb on. Well, I made a point that I was doing my burnout. I was not getting lined up. I rolled up there and I turned both lights on before he even got to go up there. And I beat him that round at Englishtown. It was probably one of the first times I've ever raced Steve. And I totally threw him out of his game. But we were going a lot slower then. We was going like 7.0s and high 690s. So you really could adjust the bike a lot more if he was a little out of, you know, didn't get, you know, pointed straight. You could get off the bike and all that stuff. Now you got to be so precise to get the ET and the speed out of these things. You need to go perfectly straight as much as possible. And it's just one of the deals. I remember back then I did that, and, you know, I decided to do it here again.
Excellent. Excellent. Marvin Rodak out there. When have you fallen victim to starting line games? He wants to know, like, do you keep that? Do you store that, or you put it away?
Oh yeah. No, I mean, like I said, you can't be perfect all the time. I mean, there's been times I've been late on the tree and all that. And even playing games, I've played games with Eddie, Andrew. You know, me and Andrews have some of the good ones, but me and Michael Phillips probably had the best ones, you know, in the past with racing. Only one time have I ever gotten backed out, and that was when I raced Hector Arana at Gainesville. We got counted out and pushed back and had to run the end of line in eliminations. So it has happened. You know, I'm old, I'm stubborn, and, you know, if two people want to play a game, then I'm going to play it with them. You know, then again, I might just want to roll on in. You know, I don't know. It's just kind of how I feel after the burnout.
I like it. No, I like all of that stuff. Now, the bike won best appearing out in Charlotte. All right. We didn't get to talk about that, but look at that thing. That is it. I am a sucker for candy red. I've told you this. You just throw in a little gold leaf on it and it makes it perfect. And you won Wally's in back-to-back races. I would imagine winning on the track is a little more meaningful. Look at that Scrappers Racing team. You got the whole Salinas family there. But how meaningful was it to win best appearing with the bike?
There it is.
Wow.
We got the little guy at Charlotte that you presented to us that I don't think it's ever been done like that. I've won 4 of those best appearing through my career. with paint jobs and bikes, building bikes from the ground up and all that stuff. And it's always been on Sunday morning, when we go for driver intros or something like that. You doing it in the water and qualifying, that was simply amazing. I was totally shocked, and I was very honored for you to do that to me. And pretty neat deal. But I'm more favorable toward Mr. Big Wally here.
Okay, now we have the scale. All right, now we see the scale.
There's a scale, but I'm even more favorable toward these things right here.
Oh my gosh!
When you win the great big ones around here, that's what it's all about. A lot of people can win races, Joe, but it's a really challenging part to win championships. And it's you just got to be good. You used to have to be good all year long. Now you just got to be good for the last 6 races of the year and be in position to win a championship.
Yeah, then we've seen you do it. All right, Monday Morning Racer out there wants to know if you're going to the skid plate races at Bowman Gray Stadium this weekend.
I will be there. It's anytime we can go to Bowman Gray. I will not be racing there this year. I've sold my skid car, but I will be there. If somebody needs a driver, I will drive one of them. But I will be there this weekend. We all love to go to Bowman Gray. That's one of the best little tracks around. I mean, when they were building this this new gen car for NASCAR, that's where they tested those 3 cars. Each brand, it was at Bowman Gray, and it's right here, 20 miles from our house. It's called the Madhouse, and there's a reason they call it the Madhouse.
20 minutes. That's awesome to be there that close and get the job done like that. Hey, I was scanning these pictures, and I just wanted to get your take now that this whole scrappers racing kind of program is evolving, and I want to talk. I want you to hear your opinion of like what's going on with it. Is this why the program is developing so quickly? We were so great to see Gianna get back on her bike and go down the track. But Mike and Monica, everybody, like they came into the sport a few years ago, right? And it was like, who are these people? And I'm sure they were, who are these people? And they have integrated into the pits in such a great way. I can't imagine the sport without them right now. But your program together, I think, is going to be really, really tough for everybody to deal with if Mike is supporting it.
Yes. You just look at Mike Salinas in general. What Rob Flynn and him are doing in Top Fuel. I mean, they've won a couple races already this year. Jasmine, Gianna's sister, and A Fuel, I think they've won a race this year already. I know they've won in the past. Yep. Gianna's won in the past, on a Pro Stock motorcycle. But what we're trying to do is develop this program for them. And I could not be developing this Suzuki program as quick and as fast as we are without Mike Salinas, and Mike Salinas put money into this program for their team of Gianna and Jimmy on their deal. We have both style motors. We have the Vance 9's 4-valve motor. We have the Monstar 4-valve motor. We have focused right now to work really hard on the Monstar part of it because we can get parts and pieces for that stuff right now. We can't get everything we need for it, but we have enough pieces to have one motor each, and we've made them fast right now. I'm hoping we get our 3rd Monstar motor done before Bristol, so we have a backup between me and Jimmy. We have a lot of parts on order for the Vance and Hines stuff to develop that motor, and there's nothing wrong with the Vance and Hines motor. They're both good pieces. I like the quality work of the Vance and Hines head way better than the Monstar. I think there's more benefits to the finger follower on the Vance and Hines compared to the bucket style of the Monstar, but right now we focus on the Monstar because that's what I've ran in the past. I've never ran this finger follower stuff. So making power, making Cam's decisions, and making grinds for that, it's we're having to develop that a little bit differently. So we've kind of put that on the back burner, and we will get that more toward the end of the year and over the winter for next year, on that progress.
Wow. Do you, I'm putting you on the spot here. I'm just guessing, and the answer might be no. And if the answer is no, it's fine. Just say it. But do you use the Total Seal stuff?
Absolutely. Matt has always been a supporter of me. I've been a supporter of Matt. And I would not use a ring in any of our motors, V-twin or 4-cylinder, that wasn't total seal. And absolutely, 100%.
Okay, so I'm scheduling you for the Hidden Horsepower podcast right now where we can talk about some of this, because it just occurs to me that not really being a motorcycle engine guy at some point, and now you're running simultaneous development programs on 2 different style of 4-valve cylinder heads on Suzuki's. Like, that's very interesting, I think, to people who like engines. Like, what? Like, you got to run them both because you got to have the fastest stuff. And we don't know which one is the fastest just yet. If they're early on in their curve. And I find that to be interesting. So let's plan that ahead. Now, there's a conversation going on in the chat section that I don't know what it's about. Mike Mullaney, who says that Suzuki should approve a V-twin for the TL body. It's since a V-twin from the factory. And Angie says she agrees. What are they talking about?
Yeah, that's never going to happen. I mean, when Suzuki made the TL, the TL was a V-twin motor. But that was the better bodywork in the age of, 20 years ago when the TL came out over the GSX-R body at the time. So Suzuki, NHRA allowed Suzuki to make that body for the inline 4-cylinder for everybody to run. And that's kind of been the class body work for the last 20 years until the Hayabusa came out a couple years ago with Jerry Savoy doing it. I'm hearing that Suzuki's back involved with NHRA now, and I'm hearing the Vance and Hines team is building a new Hayabusa bodywork that will be coming out, I think, next year. This current, I think, Hayabusa bodywork right now is kind of skeptical. It has to be mounted just perfect for it to go perfectly straight. I think you'll see a lot of people, they are fighting the bikes a lot, or even when they shut the bike off, the bike goes right or left, and there's an aero problem with it, in my opinion. I've seen way too many things happen, and that's why I would never put myself on one of those right now, period. I'm hoping. I had somebody from Suzuki on Monday, which I haven't talked to anybody since I quit running Suzuki in 2009. They called me, want me to, put the Hayabusa body on when Vance Hines gets it done. So I told them I think about it, but I just more or less need to watch them run the stuff and see if it's good yet. The TL body work is awesome. There's nothing wrong with it. Yes, I think the Hayabusa body work, if you make it perfectly straight fast, is probably faster. But the TL, I went 201 with that body work at Houston, first time out with our Suzuki program. So I know it's just as fast as anything's out there right now.
Interesting. And thank you for that. I remember in qualifying, you had a bit of a hairy incident with the brake locking up on you. Just, I guess, Friday, one of those things that gets swept under the rug in the memory bank. But I expect that you remember it because that seemed pretty hairy. Was that hairy, or was that like part of being a pro stock motorcycle racing?
Well, if you watch the video in slow motion, you see the spray of water come up first before the actual lockup of the tire. I was just on the brakes a little bit, like I always am, but I hit a crack in the middle of the track that run the same way that we're running, not across the track, but the same way that we were running. And my front tire just went in that crack, and the water sprayed up. I didn't know it, but it just locked the tire up, because the tire got wet there for a split second. But if you watch it in slow motion on NHRA TV, you can see the actual mist of spray come up from the bike, and that's just hitting water before the actual smoke. So I immediately let off the brake, it straightened right back up, and I got back on the brakes again, and, all was good. Just banged my foot on the ground a little bit. That was it.
That's got to be scary, though, right? Like, you don't just normalize that.
I mean, 199, 197, somewhere in that range, I was probably going at that time. And, you don't ever want to go down. You don't want to see anybody go down. I don't care if you don't like them or not. You don't want to see anybody get hurt. But, yeah, I mean, that could have stopped our weekend right there. But all in all, Virginia, what a great track Tommy, Judy, Franklin have put on.
Yeah.
Super smooth surface. Dealt with this weather all weekend. I mean, hats off to NHRA Safety Safari for getting the track as good as they are. Tyler Corzone that runs the track for Tommy and Judy. I mean, what an awesome facility. And to see them have a packed house on Saturday and Sunday like they did with the weather that we had was just simply amazing.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, Michael Phillips. Angie wants to know when Michael Phillips' next race is. He says Norwalk. David Knapp. I've got one more question for you. David Knapp, though, says, do you change your diet during the racing season for weight? You don't have to do that anymore, right? Now they put 10 pounds on everybody. You don't have to, no starving. Like Steve is eating broccoli only. You don't have to starve yourself anymore, or do you still? Or do you?
You know, I'm one of these people that I can kind of eat what I want. I kind of took that after my mom. And she's like 95 pounds soaking wet. And luckily I didn't take after my dad in the weight category, because then I would have to run Top Fuel Harley. But I got my mom's gene for my, for my metabolism. And, I'm just lucky that I don't have to do a diet. I mean, there's times where I go, oh man, I'm 157 pounds. I got to lose some weight. But as long as I stay at 155 to 153 pounds in that range, I'm fine, and I feel like I'm healthy enough to do ride these bikes, either or, whether it's the V-twin or the Suzuki bike.
Lean and mean. All right, so I got two things I got to do. We got to talk about Spider-Man McBride. That'll be last because I want your take. But you did threaten to bring the V-twin out, and so now this is like a threat that happens, if nothing else, just for the entertainment of everyone and to make your competitors wonder. That move that happened, like, is that now like a running threat for everybody? I don't mean the word threat is not, but a possibility at any time, like going into the final round, or do we have a new interpretation of this rule now? Has the previous interpretation of the rule now morphed into something new, which tends to happen in the world, where now we understand it as, you know what, man? I got two bikes in the trailer and I can make a switch at any point, at any time, if one is blowed up or broke. What do you think about that interpretation? I don't think it's terrible. It might make the best teams have to have two bikes, but I don't know. I feel like it would be really tough to take something you haven't raced all day and just jump on it and go and win the final round. Doesn't seem like it would be an advantage to do that. If it was, you'd be doing it. But anyway,
yeah,
talk about that.
It's not an advantage. I mean, you got to think about it. If you're in the finals, you're running somebody that had 2 or 3 qualifying passes and 3 rounds of eliminations of the racetrack or where you're at. Air, track, all that stuff. So they have a big advantage, and you haven't been on that with that bike at all. So, from track conditions to air to tuning and all that stuff, I mean, it's the only reason I did it at Houston was because the bike was hurt. The Suzuki bike was hurt. It kept slowing up. I slowed up 4 mile an hour, then I slowed up another 3 mile an hour, and I was like, something's wrong. I wasn't missing a tune-up that bad. There was just something wrong with it. And when we got back home, there was something wrong with it. Luckily, we didn't run it again, or I would have not been able to run, Charlotte with that bike. So I made the right call on that. But all in all, I think it's a disadvantage to bring a bike out for one pass, to do that. If it was first round eliminations and you qualified a high, yeah, you probably can get away with it. But doing that in the finals or semifinals, you're going to be at a disadvantage regardless. The biggest thing is you got to look at it for the fans' perspective. You don't want to let somebody go up there and have a buy run because A1, you broke your main bike and you can't be up there to even give them a race. The fans, we're here for entertainment. All right. Everybody wants to win, but as a racer, we're here. We're getting money to entertain the fans and to win races for your sponsors. And that's what I did. That's why I did it there. I will not do it unless the bike is hurt. I'm not going to do it just to do it. I can tell you that. But plain and simple, I still think you're at a disadvantage if you do it anyway.
That makes sense. It makes sense. All right, Spider-Man McBride, what did you think? You mentioned Top Fuel Harley. I think in the past you've said that you'd like to maybe race one at some point, and we just saw that go to a next level, 268 mile per hour, the fastest ever on a drag bike, and the guy was treated like a god out there. It was amazing to see everyone on the starting line. I haven't spoken with you about it though. Like, I wanted to know what your take was. What did you think of the whole deal? What do you think of the whole deal? Because it did bring a lot of worldwide attention.
Yeah, Spider-Man, a.k.a. Larry McBride, is absolutely the best motorcycle racer out there, period. I mean, hands down. He's been the quickest, the fastest of anybody out here with one. I've known him for years and years. going all the way back to when I first started racing in AMA Pro Star with Redline Oil sponsor me. He's always been with Redline Oil. The Kerrigans, Tim and Kelly Kerrigan, was always supporting both of us. And I got to know Larry really, really good back in the day of AMA Pro Star. It's actually funny. I always wanted to ride one of those bikes back then. And even up to the point where Kerry Hogan got off the bike, his Top Fuel bike, and ended his Top Fuel career, he tried to get me hooked up with the people that owned the bike to ride that bike. And, at the time I was like, I was doing really good in the pro stock bike stuff. And I was like, man, I can't do that right now. I can't dedicate time to do that stuff too. And, now my sponsor and my wife won't let me ride either a Top Fuel Harley or a Top Fuel bike. But, those bikes are going.
No. That's what Angie says. Come on, Angie. Isn't Spider-Man like your surrogate? You say McBride, you got the McBride thing going on. And your mother says no. Yeah. Everybody says no, Matt. What does Matt say? Block him out, Matt. What does Matt want to do?
Everybody says no, but Matt would like to do it. Even if I didn't do it quarter mile, I'd like to do it on a quarter mile track, but I'd just like to go to 8th mile on a Top Fuel Harley, and I'd like to go to 8th mile on a Top Fuel motorcycle just to feel the rush of what it is. Going out the back door, I wouldn't care nothing about that. I've been 250 some mile an hour in a pro mod car, but I'd just like to do it on a bike one time to go to the 8th mile pretty fast like that.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So Manji said, your mom says no. Yeah, he says my adopted dad. Tommy, no. Everybody is telling you yes, and she's like no, which I think is great. And I can barely watch the guy do it. Like, that's insanity. 268 miles per hour. He says he can go 270. Hopefully we'll have him out there and we'll get a chance to do it all again. Matt, thank you very much. Final thought. Is there anything we didn't cover on this interview? It's been really interesting. We had Steve a couple of weeks. Now we've got you. We got a couple weeks off, actually, because we got Memorial Day coming up. Then we're headed to Epping. You guys are not going to Epping, but you'll be back on the tour at Bristol. And, what would you like to say to the fans of John Force and all these people that are sniffing around pro stock motorcycles saying, hey, man, there's some interesting things going on over here. Maybe we should watch.
I think everybody should watch our class. I think we have a really good thing going right now. I think NHRA putting the weight on the Suzukis, even though I'm on the Suzukis, I think putting the weight on them has got them closer to the V-twins. I still, in my opinion, I still think the Suzukis have an advantage. And I'm hoping to prove that when I get my tune-up right, my clutch right, and all that, because I feel like the power that we're showing on my dyno compared to our V-twin stuff, that we can outrun the V-twins. So when I get my program to that point, I think that we'll see a lot more improvement. But I am happy that the fans are watching us, all the John Force, the Greg Anderson fans, everybody, all of them. Watch our class, because we're going to give them a good show this year. It's very competitive, and there's more rivals than just me and Steve Johnson out there. There's a lot more rivals out there. So just watch our class. You'll see some stuff happening between other people too, and we'll try to spice it up a little bit. Remember, I'm the spicy one. Angie's the sweet one.
Angie's sweet. Matt is spicy. You guys should put that on your leathers. Eddie Krawick is out there. Angel is out there. There's a lot of big personalities that are just like want to fight their way into the front. And it's going to be a whole lot of fun. Karen Stouffer, what she did in Gainesville, that's not Jerry when he's not breaking his toe. He's out there. He's fast. He's not afraid to talk. It's going to be so much fun. We're just barely scratching the surface. We've only been, what is this, your fourth race, right?
Yes.
Gainesville, Houston, 4 wide, and this 4 races in. So it's going to be great. And also, congratulations to your dad putting 2 cars in the final of Pro Mod. That's a big weekend for the Smith family. Tricky Ricky came up short in the final, but what is it? Tyler got his first win ever, first round wins ever. Got 4 of them and beat Ricky in the final. Like, what a great day. Maybe he should just retire, because that's tough to get better than that. Matt, thank you very much. I appreciate you.
Thanks, Joe, for having us on, and thank you for all the fans watching. And hopefully we will be back on here again soon.
Yeah, and you control that. That's the thing about WFO. You win your way on. Great job, Matt. Thank you very much. Say hi to Angie, and good luck at Bowman Gray. Stay off the skid plates.
All right, thank you.
Later. There he goes. Matt Smith with us here on WFO Radio. Yeah, family show. David Knapp, great interview today. JC, thank you very much, David. I appreciate it. Right? Who are the rivals that we don't know about? Well, I think I just listed them, right? Like Eddie Krawick is not taking crap from anybody. And that's the thing. Like the bikes haven't been exactly quick. Eddie stepped up this weekend. I told Steve last week, Eddie's going to win again. Angel's going to win again. These guys are all going to win again. Jerry's going to come back. Jerry Savoy wasn't at this one because he broke his toe in a horrible, disgusting manner. And he put it on the internet. It was horrible. It's like, what is that? A snake bite? Spider bite? All of that. So there's a bunch of bikes in Pro Stock Motorcycle that can get up there. And this Mark Ingerson, get to the semis. He's got a fast bike. It's kind of interesting what's happening in Pro Stock Motorcycle. And, Flying Ryan Ayler just upgraded all his stuff. And he's at the very beginning of a new learning curve. And he says it's much better. He's blowing the tires off, changed everything now that he's got his new fuel injection system. So it's going to be very, very interesting. All right, guys, put your comments in the comment section. Look at Keith. Keith says, join Patreon and support. What did Keith get me? Look at this. The other day, Keith, you're on here now. So I want to thank you for sending this. Everybody knows that I'm a South Florida guy, and I was probably at this race. Moroso Motorsports Park, NHRA points meet, Division II points meet. Me and my dad, we always used to go to these. We had some real crazy things happen. Many stories. Funny car, top alcohol, funny car on its roof, throttle hung wide open on the fence, and we're 10 feet away running from the fence. It was a crazy scene, man. It was a crazy scene at Moroso. We're fighting to keep this place open, even though they have supposedly announced that they're going to build another track somewhere nearby. I don't know if we're going to have to talk to the guy, Al, from the Formula Racing Group to find out what his true vision is. But Keith, thank you for sending this. This is going to go up. I just got to get a frame. And then there's this one. But you know what? It actually has me thinking. Look at this. Moroso Motorsports Park, West Palm Beach. But you know what's crazy? What are these? What are these? What are these? These are posters, man. When was the last time you saw a promotional poster for anything? Are we making a big mistake? Not NHRA necessarily, but I mean everybody. Are we making a mistake not like printing advertisements and going, I don't want to say we're 100% digital. I don't know about that. Like I'd have to go talk to the NHRA people, but the last time I saw like a promotional poster that you could stick on a wall or a light pole or in a garage or an auto shop or something, and you print up a whole bunch of these posters and you post them all around town 2 months before the race and everybody sees them and they think like that is kind of gone, that style of advertising, because everybody advertises on Facebook. And, if you want to advertise on WFO Radio, I'm going to work really hard for you, as you'll see in a second. But this is even different than just a digital ad on Facebook, like one of those little ads that nobody sees in the corner, right? Everybody puts all their money into that. But there's something to be said. Look at this. We're advertising the points race at Moroso Motorsports Park. 30 years later, we're still advertising this place. I don't know, just something I'm thinking about. I'm thinking, always reevaluating what we're doing. Always reevaluating. Monday Morning Racers out there, westbound for Funny Car Chaos in Odessa, Texas. Have fun out there. Monday Morning Racer, he's the correspondent for Funny Car Chaos. Have fun out there. That new 78 Trans Am or 77 Firebird body looked pretty cool. Get your comments into the comment section, guys. I always tell you to subscribe on Apple Podcasts. WFO is really a podcast. We're really an audio-only product. For those people that are out there riding tractors like David Eaton or mowing the lawn, audio only. That was me, talk radio guy, doing my job, listening to things, thinking thoughts in the background about what they're saying. The audio only podcast. Not everybody can be watching. So there you go. But big thanks to the people who make it possible. I always say it, like Marvin Rodak, for instance, rodakscoffeeandgrills.com. I start just about every day, not yesterday, but every day with Rodak's Coffee. 817-924-6821. He's a drag racer. He has supported the show for 10 years. He's located in Fort Worth, Texas. He gets coffee from around the world. That's the best beans in the business. Best beans, baby. And he'll roast some of them fresh for you. He does drag racing themed blends. If you haven't gotten a little Rodak's Coffee, I'm questioning, like, why? Why? I hate you, Castello. That's the reason. 817-924-6821. Go to the website. Go to my website. Click on Rodax and order away. Call him. Hot sauces and spice rubs, everything good. There's the Frank Hawley's Drag Racing School. They've been on board with WFO for a long time. Long. The Dragster Adventure is what I think my listeners should do. They come around the country with the dragsters, and you can go out there it's a half-day experience. Courses start at $399, but it's really like a thrill show thing. You make 3 runs, 1 half track and 2 full track passes. And they can do races. They can set up a race for you and your group. Go to frankhawley.com to find out more information. Or if you want to get your top alcohol license, you can do that too. Samtech.edu, the School of Automotive Machinists and Technology. This is a school. If you want to get educated on how to become a machinist, engine block programs, cylinder head programs, motorsport EFI programs, they got a great campus down there. They've recently expanded. They're approved to train veterans using the GI Bill. It's a very cool thing because once you graduate there, they know you like drag racing. They know you're capable. They can help place you with one of the teams. Like the folks at Stanfield, they use Samtech grads. I know Keith Wilson from Wilson Manifold uses Samtech grads. Go to samtech.edu. Coming up next week, Jim Epler from phillipsconnect.com going to be joining the show. Talk about the ARC and, of course, what they do for all the trucks and trailers out there and some of their big clients like Amazon, for instance. Total Seal piston rings. How about Matt Smith with that slightly solicited endorsement for Total Seal? Well, he's never said it specifically, but after he's talking about that engine development program, so when he's on his hidden horsepower, we will not be talking about spicy and sweet. We will not be talking about Steve Johnson. We will be talking about engine development on Suzuki Pro Stock motorcycles and V-twin. This guy's got to be one of the most knowledgeable guys out there now, and how important ring seal is. Thank you for that, Matt. VPRacingFuels.com. VP Lubricants and Fuel Additives. Get a last look. This is about to go into my 98 Firebird. It's about to be gone. Super excited to have Pro Stock back and renew the battles out there. Greg versus Erica versus Camry. But not only that, Titan racing engines. The fact that using VP lubricants, kind of a cool stat. And FTI Performance Transmissions.com. Transmissions, torque converters. They make their own fluids. An industry leader for over 10 years. And you just look at all the guys that run FTI. It's insane. Frank Altilio rocking the stickers. Just so many people rocking the FTI Performance Transmissions and torque converters. Thank you guys. Appreciate you supporting WFO Radio. And Keith has been saying it, join the Patreons. We picked up 2 Patreons just yesterday. What is this? It's a VIP listener club that you pay. It's a monthly. You can get a yearly membership. It's up to you. And there are different levels based on what you want to do. But everybody kind of gets the same thing, right? You support WFO. You get a little bit of swag. The people who are at the absolute top, if I have a question like, should I walk away from it all and quit? I'll probably go to them first. But it's really how we pay our internet bills and how we buy new equipment. And I got a computer the other day that I'm going to replace this one that you're talking to me on right now, supposedly faster and better, refurbished, of course. And that's all because of the Patreons. I want to share some opinions behind the scenes with them as well. Some photos, Monday motivation, of course. They get to participate in the Ignition Show. Go to the website, WFOradio.com. Find out more. Patreon.com/WFO Radio. You should be able to get there. All right, let's see what people have to say. The new WFO mobile app. I showed you yesterday, and I got very nervous. Like, did it work? Is it working? iPhone, Android, the WFO mobile app. And it's pretty amazing. You got every show. For you audio only folks, it's a white screen, so it's not showing up so great. But you can scroll up and down. You can see all of our shows, our videos, all right here. And you can even go to the merch store right through here. iPhone, Android, and use it and put it to the test. Because if it's not working right, you got to tell me. And that's another thing, guys. The fourth wall. I learned about it, back when I first took a mass media course, breaking the fourth wall. Like, people in here are not supposed to know that this is a real person. No, heck with that, man. We're breaking that fourth wall. I'm here. You're there. We all love drag racing. We all love motorsports. If there's something up, you can email me, joe@wforadio.com. There have been times there have been mistakes in a show. So one of the listeners, Joe, thank you. We break that fourth wall. I think it's part of my, I do some media coaching occasionally for racers. Remember, there's people out there watching you guys. Remember, and like, they're sitting on their couch, eating their popcorn. It's okay to acknowledge them and their existence. And it's also okay to just talk directly to them. You can do that. I love that. All right, let's see what we got. The app is awesome. Bought a WFO sweatshirt through it. Thank you, Keith. Great to see the posters in your hands, keeping history alive. Get those posters at the track for both events, save PBI or drag strip. Yeah. I got a bunch of stuff. I got a great one from Gainesville down there. You right behind the tree. Miller with Ace McCullough. Joe, loved you calling Spider-Man McBride's 268 a moment in history accentuated by your professional announcer tone. Thank you, Spock. That's very kind. So I was very excited to be on, there's only so many big moments out there in the world. And we had talked to Larry last week prior to, if you want to go back and watch that interview, he laid it all out, what he was trying to do. And here, as luck would have it, I'm on for Top Fuel Harley, and they run Spider-Man right after Top Fuel Harley. So I get to stay on there. And that thing is going. And when 268 came up, wow, I knew it was history. Probably my most heard call ever, right? But thank you, Spock. Appreciate you. Funny Car Chaos and the Southeast Gasters posters are extremely popular. Posters. Let's think about this, guys. Posters. There's something to be said about having something you could touch and the poster too. Jeff Hall. Good show, Joe. I was at Virginia Motorsports Park, NHRA. Disappointed. I didn't get to see where is it? I didn't get to see the top fuel bikes on Sunday. Hope NHRA will bring you back. NHRA disappointed. You were at the race. There's got to be a comma in there, Jeff, because there was nothing disappointing about the race other than that they didn't get to run that third run. But it was obviously weather permitting, and we didn't finish the Lucas Oil Series cars until like 7:45. Me and Nikki are down there in the jungle, down there in the forest, just waiting for cars to come around the corner. And it was a very difficult situation. So they weren't going to be able to run Spider-Man the way I look at it. And it's me being glasses half full Joe. Yeah, David Eaton, look at this. There's nothing going on down there. This guy won in front of nobody. But we hung out to do our interviews with him. I think this just means that we got to do it again somewhere. We got to bring him back, either for the final of the best of three, because Dave Vantine won around, by the way. Let's not forget Dave Vantine. But you got to bring him back. Try to run 270. That's what I think. We got to figure out where the come. Angie's out there. Thanks for an awesome show, Joe. Angie. Thank you, Angie. Go win, Angie. Go win. Spicy Angie. No, she's sweet. Sorry. I really think that Pro Stock bike is the last frontier for the privateer. Yeah. I don't know. I guess. David Knapp, people are too busy looking on their phones to read signs. I was like coasters that were distributed at bars. I got a whole collection, David Knapp. Got a whole collection. Everywhere I go, when I go to a special bar, I steal a coaster. I take one. There you go. Those are posters that were sent to on Oak Tag to national event divisional tracks to distribute locally. Yeah, exactly. Got any E-Town ones sitting around, Dave? You want to send one for the WFO studio? I'm sure you got some in the back. Is there a difference between Patreon and sending stars? Yeah, sending stars is like the Facebook version. I don't think I have sending stars set up on this deal. I guess I should, right? I should set it up. It's relatively new. Patreon is more of its own thing, monthly membership. But I should set up every way. Like, you guys want to send money to WFO, you should be able to do it. Angel once said Eddie would send donuts to her trailer on race day to try to get her heavier. Yeah, I think that makes sense. This was a fun how. I know you meant show, Blake. Come on. I know you meant, like, I've figured out listener by now. Listener language. It's very difficult to read and all of that stuff. But I've figured it out doing this for as long as I have. All right, guys, that's it for WFO this week. We had Matt Smith. Great interview. Just kind of laid it out there. Now, I'm sure Steve Johnson is out there watching. Like, I'm sure. Like, this is, you have to watch this stuff. And so they're going to go back to work. They're going to be motivated to go back to work. Brr. And Steve, fight your way back on, man. And Angel, where are you? And Angie and Eddie. Fight your way on, man. Fight your way on the show. That's what it is. You got to fight your way on. We've had Karen. We've had Steve. We've had Matt. Those are our Pro Stock Motorcycle guests for the year. Now, we do invite people on in between races, of course, but those are different interviews. They're not winner views, which are earned out there on the NHRA Tour. Yeah, David Knapp, I sent you so many stars, like over $200 worth. Arg, yeah. Well, then somebody's... You should have said $2 million. Or maybe I've got a bank account somewhere and I don't know it. Oops. But thanks to everybody who supports WFO Radio, and you guys, the listeners, the viewers, been showing up a lot lately. Remember, it's a podcast. Apple Podcasts, Spotify, SoundCloud. We got the Hidden Horsepower podcast. We got the Factory Stock podcast, getting new audio again. And we're trying to grow. We're always trying to grow. You are the best way for that to happen. I just said, like, you get a Facebook ad and you put it in the corner of Facebook and it shows up on somebody's screen. Do they even notice it? I don't know. When you're a part of a show and people are talking and you're interacting and you say something that people like, I think they're a lot more likely to listen to what you have to say about whatever it is. And the same is true for being a viewer or a listener. So if you're out there, tell your friends, WFO, get a shirt in our store, stuff like that. But now I'm going into the office and I'm going to dig out from a giant pile of paper that's been building up for a bunch of weeks as we've been out on the road. All right, guys. Matt and Angie, congratulations on the toter. Congratulations on the win. All you race fans out there, we'll see you next week. And if you're going to Homestead Fastlane Friday, I'll see you there. WFO.